question for you. We all know that you can bring the heavy off.
Hi, pal.
We're live, pal. And for those of you that are just now tuning in, if there's any right now, I'm not going to check because that will throw me off. As you all know, I haven't done very many streams, and I'm going to fuck up like crazy. But thank God I've got Dylan here steering the ship a little bit. So just remember,
I'm here in the co-host slot. You can book me as your co-host, and yeah, if you pay me money, that'd be great. If not, I'm not doing shit as well. Thanks for dropping in, Matt Hibner, and hopefully we won't get cut off for that. That may be our only clip that we have, because we don't have an intro, but we do have Sid fucking up of going live, pal. So that perfectly encapsulates what we're doing here, as we're here to talk about one of the greats. You're like, let's talk about the guy who just died. No, not Chuck Mangione. No. You're
not Theo.
You're way off.
And we're not talking about Theo today. We're not talking about Ozzy Osbourne. We're talking about someone that a lot of us grew up. It's the reason a lot of us even became a wrestling fan. The immortal Hulk Hogan.
And he indeed got me into wrestling. I actually didn't buy him in his first one. I was a very young child, and even at that age, I could be like, I was saying, this is fucking bullshit. I think it was Brother Love and the Honky Tonk Man, especially the cartoony shit, that as a 3-year-old, I was like, this is fucking horse shit. What are we watching here? But Hulk Hogan's turn, my brother ordered the pay-per-view, and that NWO run got me to be a wrestling nerd for life. Even though I don't watch it anymore, I watch it through Jim Cornette, because I could listen to him read the phone book and him actually giving his expert advice on what these imbeciles are doing and how they're never going to draw a dime like Hulk Hogan drew. Hogan and Austin in our lifetime, those are the biggest money drawers that there have been. Rock to a certain extent, but he went Hollywood, so that's not wrestling money.
No, I mean, you kind of can't count Rock because, he's probably technically, he's had to have made more than Hogan and definitely Austin because of the movies. If you only counted the Rock's money that he made in wrestling, well, he's definitely a distant third.
I like that we kind of stumbled onto movies already, where we could, we're kind of jumping around a bit on Hogan's career, because the NWO is where I started following him and then did my work backwards. My brothers had a bunch of VHS tapes for me to work backward on, and Hogan really thought he was going to have that Hollywood career. No Holds Barred, funded by Vince McMahon, written by Hulk Hogan, Vince McMahon, and a pile of cocaine.
Yep.
No Holds Barred. And onto Suburban Commando.
Yeah, I believe that was the next one.
I have looked at the career trajectory of Christopher Lloyd, and it is up, 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 up. He played the crazy guy in Taxi, Jim Ignatowski. Now they got 2 with Latka there. He played the main bad guy in Star Trek 3, as a Klingon. Judge Doom, and then Suburban Commando.
Do you think he owed someone a favor?
It was one of those where you're taking a gamble. Like, every role is a gamble. I wonder if Hogan was signed first or second, but it's one of those, like, all right, he's a big fucking star. He's been on Saturday Night Live. He's filled in for Saturday Night Live on Saturday night's main event. They spun that off onto primetime Friday night with Hulk Hogan. So sure, let me give this a try.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I do have my best memory of Suburban Commando is the trailer. Christopher Lloyd yelling, "I was frozen today."
Well, I don't know why it sticks out for me, but from that movie, what sticks out to me so much is the drive home from work every day where Christopher Lloyd would try to speed through those lights, and every day he would just slam on the brake at the last second, and he couldn't commit to going through the light. I don't know why.
It was to show that, yeah, he was like a neutered man. He can't even roll through an orange light. It wasn't going to be full red, but it wasn't going to be full yellow. He just can't do it till that final scene where he's got Hulk Hogan's space bazooka to just blow up the light. And I think it went too far. That's kind of neat. The public works is going to be out, and you're going to ruin a lot of people's nights by needing to have an actual person there to wave people through for weeks on end. Christopher Lloyd.
And it's because, as you just kind of accidentally set up for me, it's like Christopher Lloyd wasn't comfortable going through the red or yellow, but Hogan was very comfortable in the yellow and red. So that's why that had to go.
Yeah, we've currently got him up here, his pre-WWE outfit. This one I have prepared here is the iconic photo of him ripping his shirt off, as he did so many times. And I see our buddy Matt Hibner in the chat saying WrestleMania 3 hooked him.
Yeah.
And it was so amazing reliving my brother's VHS tapes of the build towards WrestleMania 3. And that's really what's lacking as they go a million miles a minute. AEW specifically. You've got Tony Khan with the J.J. Abrams style of going just so fast. You're not like the event centers really got you wanting to see Hogan and Andre. We've got this promo. I think it might have been Piper's Pit where he presented him. If you win, Andre, here's this giant version of the belt.
Yeah. And then there was the, if you remember, I mean, I don't know how far back you went because I think you're starting and stop timeline for yourself, your fandom. You might not have saw this live, but there was a hint that Andre was going to turn heel before he turned heel. It might have been Piper's Pit or it might have been the Jesse Ventura one. They were receiving trophies, and Andre Hogan got his trophy and Andre got his trophy, and then Andre he walks off like kind of giving off like almost like I'm disgusted to be here vibes. Did you happen to see that?
That was in the VHS buildup. Those packages might have been simple. They didn't have the music and the voiceover, but they got that along with the video packages to help build up for WrestleMania with Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan there showing you the past. So that was something they were always good at, and they've just polished it up very nicely. WrestleMania, I guess that's WrestleMania 3 is when my brother really picked up on the VHS recordings. Maybe that's when he got the one to start and stop, or the tapes dropped in price, the blank ones, because there's not much of WrestleMania 1 or 2 that he has, but starting 3 through 6, there was an extensive catalog to go through.
Oh yeah,
so I was very lucky in that aspect, having that before the network launched.
Oh God, I know. It was like people forget that there was this time where everything wasn't on demand. So, like there was that time, it's like if you didn't tape it, it didn't happen,
Oh yeah, I had a nice bootlegging business when Hogan came back in the 90s, and people, well, especially the Ultimate Warrior, that wretched match that they had in WCW. I had my brothers, I could tape onto another tape, the double VHS setup that I could bootleg here. This was amazing in 1990, 89, 90. And oh boy, what a stinky. It's like the first match between Hogan and Warrior. It's better than it has any right being.
Oh yeah.
It's fucking simple, but it has you hooked. The fans also helped make that. Being in Toronto that year, those are always hot crowds when they go just above the border in Canada.
And whether or not you know this, you set it up for later. We know that the hottest crowd of all time was Hogan Rock in that same arena.
WrestleMania 17. 18?
No, it was 18. Definitely 18. 17 was the one that was like 2 days after the purchase of WCW, so they were still sticking to the pre-existing storylines. So,
they had no time. Yeah, it was the Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania. There was no time to incorporate the people, especially with fucking what was it? Jindrak? No, Sean Stasiak being getting on the radio. Hey, we're gonna make a big thing happen. No, you're not.
No,
You're not anymore.
You're not at all. I mean, in fact, I know this is deep into the nerd weeds. I was surprised watching WrestleMania 17 live that the production people had enough time that when they showed the WCW guys watching the show from like a skybox, that they figured out how to get the Monday Nitro graphic to load. Like, I was surprised that they went through the troubles. Like, where's the WCW graphics? Okay, so when we show those guys, we'll actually use their graphics that they've been using for years. So
it's nice attention to detail, which is what Hogan and Savage and all those. Savage, another one, just the slight. He was always a jealous fucking maniac.
Yeah.
So when he was a good guy, he just turned that down, and then just turned that jealous maniac all the way to 11 again when it's time to feud with Hogan and drop the belt to him.
But yeah, I guess
WrestleMania 4. That's a slog. That's the tournament WrestleMania.
Yes,
and it's a fucking slog. Well, the first bunch of WrestleManias stink.
No, they're terrible. You can't go back and just watch them in a vacuum. No.
It's Jim Cornette has called it sizzle over steak.
Yes,
and the sizzle of WrestleMania 3 is unbelievable.
You still feel it to this day.
The steak of WrestleMania is Savage Steamboat. There's a bunch of garbage, and the crowd, as into Hogan and Andre as they are, like, that may not be as awesome of a steak, but the crowd was down for everything they did. So the false finish, almost dropping the title to Andre seconds in. Let me get him up for a power slam. No, I can't, brother. 1, 2. They played him perfectly, and that's what the current crowd like misses from work rate. Hogan's work rate, like, garbage compared to the Meltzer scale, but he did so little and got so much out of it.
And then you can argue against it, because you probably know this just as well as I do. You've probably checked out the Hogan matches in Japan where he was actually, hey, I'm going to show these fuckers I can actually work and do actual wrestling.
I'm aware of them. I have not actually seen any of his Japanese matches.
It feels like, okay, I'll tell you what it's going to feel like whenever you check them out. It's going to feel like you went and create a wrestler and you changed all of Hulk Hogan's moves to cool moves, and then you had him have a match.
And did he have the red and yellow in Japan? Because he had the blue. I saw before he got. I think he did white for a little while before. Yeah. And of course, Ric Flair, he was changing colors all the time. So before he was red and yellow, it's almost odd to see him in the all blue and the all white.
The last one that I saw that he did in Japan. Now I'm not going to lie and say I remember the exact circumstances for it. I don't know if this was WWF partnership or something like that, but the last one I remember him doing in the early 90s, he was definitely in the red and yellow for that one, and he was showing that he could still work. But there were previous matches before where he was wearing those collars that we're not used to seeing him in, like the white tights and the blue tights. You're like, oh, that just doesn't feel right.
The last one, are you talking about 93 when he's got the WWF title and he calls it a trinket and kind of throws it down on the table? Because that shit didn't make it back to America in those days. But it survived, and now we all see it of him saying, I care about the IWGP title. This is a trinket. It's I want the real title.
Oh, yeah, that didn't make it back. And for a half second there, I was like, uh-oh, I think Dylan's having a senior moment and somehow confusing Hulk Hogan with Shane Douglas and ECW. And then it came to me what you were talking about.
No one in America was supposed to see that. Shane
No.
Douglas, everyone in America was supposed to see that.
Fuck yeah, they were, and they saw it, and that was the birth of ECW. But we're not here to talk about fuck you, Shane Douglas. We're not here to talk about you today. If you're in the chat, you can go fuck yourself. I don't know why I went after him so hot just now, but he took that shrapnel.
Because he was overrated. You hear him on the mic, and he does his. Shane Douglas has his fake laugh, and it's nothing compared to Hulk Hogan's 1986 coked up. Let me tell you something, brother.
Nothing compares to that. Nothing compares to that. And the triple threat's not going to exactly be talked about, 20 years from now. They were about as over as Team Canada and WCW. They're a footnote in history, brother. Oh well, but hey, I wanted to back up and talk about our early memories, and I'll see if anything that I say sparked something for you, and if so, you just jump on in. My earliest memories of Hulk Hogan was this. As a little kid, I was a big fan of the A-Team. I mean, I loved that fucking show intensely, and I loved B.A. Baracus, who was scared of them fucking helicopters for some reason and had to be knocked out. So I know that they had their partnership at around that time, but going back even further, what first got me even into wrestling was this. My earliest memories as a little kid is the Incredible Hulk TV show. And, for all, watching it in modern eyes, it's one of the most hilarious things you could ever see. Old David Bruce Banner going town to town, not even with a fabricated license or social security card. And he just goes into a new town and gets a random job at a lumber yard. And of course, the lumber yard is full of the most crooked people in town that want to kick his fucking ass for no reason. And he turns into the Hulk and chaos ensues. Well, those were my earliest memories. And as you all are already aware of a Joker stan or whatever. So I was into Hulk. The Incredible Hulk comics were the first comics that I was into, period. So I was obsessed with the comics and obsessed with the show. And as I grew up just a little bit, one of my memories is my dad going, "Man, you like that Incredible Hulk so much. Have you ever heard of Hulk Hogan yet?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then he goes, "Well, let me tell you something, brother, or son, rather. There's this character on the World Wrestling Federation called Hulk Hogan that you might enjoy." And so we turned it on, and I was hooked instantly. I mean, it felt like that era was written for people of my generation. It all felt like it was written to us, like specifically, because I started watching Hulk Hogan. I think it was the week of him defeating the Iron Sheik. So I saw like the birth of a nation. So
that was the beginning of Hulkamania. My uncle would tell me about the shows with Bob Backlund, and finally this fucking nobody, the Iron Sheik, beats him.
Yeah,
and that's to set up Hulk Hogan to come in and be the American hero and beat Iran just after a month or two title reign.
Yeah, and one of the things I wanted to bring up. And if I know Jim Cornette isn't a fan of Hogan, especially because they were on completely different sides of the political field, and Jim Cornette holds grudges against everybody that's not on the same side of the plate that he's on.
No, that's what helped got Hogan booed out of the building in Los Angeles. Yeah. He made an appearance at the Republican National Convention a few months earlier. You're showing up in Los Angeles after doing that and getting booed out of the building.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure if, like, in general, fans Hogan lived long enough to become the villain. So I'm not sure if it would have been as sour in the Staples Center. Fuck the new name. I will not say that new name. Like the bad guy in the AVGN movie. Go back to the board. I'm not saying that name.
Go
the
back
Staples
to the board.
Center. fuck that new name of
Fuck
that
that
arena.
name, whatever it is.
They might have been anti-Hogan because he's just lived long enough to become the bad guy, and now we know the stories of him stomping out the wrestlers union in right before WrestleMania 2, and just how full of shit he is. It's so funny.
The lies of
like
Hulk
the
Hogan, yeah.
one of the first ones that came on my radar that I knew was horseshit was The Wrestler. The movie The Wrestler. I was following that.
Oh, okay.
I knew that Mickey Rourke was always the number one choice, and to get a bigger budget, they shot a few days, maybe a week, with Nicolas Cage because that's who the studio wanted, a bigger star. And he was like, no, I need Mickey Rourke. So when Hogan starts coming out saying, yeah, brother, Aronofsky based that film on me. He wanted me to be in it. It's like, no. He took inspiration from you and many more down and out type people, Hogan.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that you were not number 3. I know who number 1 and number 2 were for Darren Aronofsky, and they were nothing like you were.
Yeah, so I guess Nicolas Cage Superman 2 movies then. So there's probably some footage somewhere of Nicolas Cage doing some stuff in The Wrestler, or do you know?
It's never surfaced. Maybe they did. I know they did some stuff like test footage. I know there was some stuff that they did with Nicolas Cage as the wrestler, and Aronofsky was like, "I need." I'm Eric Stoltzing him. Well, he didn't pull on Eric Stoltz.
Another good one.
Eric Stoltz in Back to the Future was driving everyone fucking nuts. Whereas I think Nicolas Cage, he was just like, no, it's not right. I need. Oh fuck! Why can't I remember his name? But I can't do it with Cage. I need my boy.
Yeah, that's it. It is random that he was like that. But what I was getting at with the Jim Cornette jab that I kind of took was Hogan was the biggest big man on the planet that came from the Ricky Morton school of selling. If you go back and watch, like, man, Hogan had the crowds in tears, like when he was getting beat up. Ricky Morton also had the crowd in tears, but those were more Southern crowds, and there was a chance that those motherfuckers were going to riot. So it's kind of like two different types of selling there. But I had to give it to Hogan, especially as a little kid. I bought it. I mean, he could be having a match with someone the size of, I guess I'll just say, Bobby Eaton, considering we just mentioned, Jim Cornette there. He could be getting his ass kicked by someone as small as Bobby Eaton, and I would fucking believe it. I'd be like, oh my God, Hulkster, please let my prayers come to you and save you from this fucking beatdown.
He didn't really have too many outright squash matches back then, but the Bobby Heenan Factory of Heels, those were all giant motherfuckers. That you couldn't get bigger than Andre. You just had to get different than Andre after. Well, let's see.
You had to get different because he basically he wrestled the Boss.
Boss Man on Akeem. You bring them together. These two big motherfuckers that aren't as big as Andre, but there's two of them.
Yeah. Another early thing about Hogan that a lot of people might find interesting, if you're watching this live or Memorex, brother, is like Hulk Hogan using the theme that he used. That was originally for the U.S. Express of Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham, and somebody smart, I guess. I don't know the backstory on this, so I'm totally making this up, but I'm assuming
WrestleMania 1, Hogan came out, I believe it was to the Rocky theme.
Yeah, he came out
Rocky 3.
Yeah, was it Eye of the Tiger? Or was it that? Or I don't remember.
One of those Rocky songs that got you in the movie, I'm pretty sure is what him and Mr. T came out to in WrestleMania 1. And the U.S. Express, like anytime you watch the original show with them coming out to I Am a Real American, you're like, this is wrong.
Yeah,
it's very wrong.
I always wondered, like, in my brain, this is what I made up, and there's no facts behind this whatsoever, but my brain, to make it make sense, someone had a discussion. It's like, hey, we're going to have to actually start paying to use that, Rocky music if we keep using it. When someone went, oh, shit. And it's like, And then some other guy goes, well, why does Mike Rotunda and Barry Windham have the coolest music on earth? And we're wasting it on fucking them. That music fits Hulk Hogan a million times. And then everybody went like, oh my God. And that's what I want to dream up happened. But
they definitely had a deal with Rick Derringer. He did the Demolition theme as well.
Yeah, and another, I mean, people forget that there was only a handful, but the ones that were bangers, as they say, I mean, the Hogan theme, the Demolition theme, like, I mean, I don't think Rick Derringer had anything to do with the Akeem theme, but that was another killer one from that era.
That was Slick's theme, right? Jive Soul Bro, Jive Soul Bro, never get nothing in the end. Jive Soul Bro, Jive Soul Bro, and you never have any friends.
And well, on the home video release, where they had the music videos to the songs, I'm not making this up, folks. You can fact check me. Slick introduces that his theme is coming up, and Slick is sitting down at what appears to be a fast food restaurant, and he's eating a bucket of fried chicken right before he plays his theme music.
That was amongst my brother's VHS tapes, as well as the Dusty Rhodes promos of him doing just a blue collar shit. He fixes Linda McMahon's toilet. I found that very funny. That of course, when she's just around, and Vince gets an extra little chuckle out of the fact that it's Linda's toilet that the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, is fixing.
Yeah, because his number one competitor, more or less, is now in his bathroom fixing his fucking toilet. He definitely got a kick out of that. I don't care what anyone says. I know Bruce Pritchard tries to poo-poo it all the time when he gets called out for that stuff, but I swear I think the polka dots were just a little jab.
Bruce Pritchard's full of shit.
Yeah,
absolutely full of shit. There was, I believe Matt Hibner mentioned Hulk got sued by Marvel. It was worth it for. I heard that there was a settlement, and that was one of the reasons that WCW tried to drop Hulk Hogan in favor of Hollywood Hogan when they had the chance. It was giving Marvel a little piece of the Hulk pie.
Yeah, that's where we gotta wonder about the. Nowadays, we all know Dave Meltzer is completely unreliable, and his news is mostly bullshit. But back then, we took it as fact, and that's how it was reported to me. At least how I remember it is that it came from him that there was this lawsuit, and that's why they were doing this, that, and the other to get around it. But nowadays, I almost don't even feel comfortable reciting old news because I'm like, did that guy just fucking make it up?
I do remember WrestleMania 6's star rating being bullshit because it doesn't matter how simple the match was between Hogan and Warrior. That was a 4-star match at minimum. The crowd was on fucking fire. I was on fire at home. Yeah, I was ready for the Warrior to take over, but he's more of a he's not a long-term guy. You don't. Ooh. You don't do coke for years and years on end. Even Hogan had to put it down.
Yeah, he had to put it down. The only thing that bothered me about that match, because I was becoming an older kid by that time, was like, I loved the match, but to me, that bear hug was 4 hours long. I don't know how long it really was, but I was like, the bear hug that would never end.
I remember the Greco-Roman knuckle lock. Jesse Ventura calling his ass off for a simple test of strength. Or was it? Yeah, I was going to say, was it Monsoon? I think it was Jesse. The Greco-Roman knuckle lock.
Yeah, because the original broadcast team for that match, it was Jesse Ventura. It was definitely Jesse Ventura, because for a while they dubbed over it with new commentary. But was his partner that night Gorilla Monsoon, or was it Jesse and Vince McMahon? Or I don't remember. Or was it even Tony?
I remember the pay-per-views usually being Monsoon and Ventura. Ventura and McMahon were regularly on Saturday night's main event, which of course Hogan dominated. That was thank goodness Saturday Night Live was in the toilet, giving Vince McMahon and the WWE the chance to come in 11:30 p.m. on a Saturday night and show what they've got throughout the 80s. And then that petered off in the 90s. I think the last one was Shawn Michaels and someone. But yeah, the new generation Fox Saturday Night Live was quite the popcorn fart compared to the early years and the main event, the setup for WrestleMania 5. I don't know how many times they did that, having the Friday night prime time wrestling. I know one of them was leading into WrestleMania 5 with the Twin Towers. That is their name. Cream and Big Boss Man versus Hogan and Savage, and they have their big blow up, and the Mega Powers explode coming up at Trump Plaza.
Oh yeah, I mean, because even as a little kid, I was like, I don't think I never could fully trust Savage, so it didn't really hurt me all that bad when it finally happened. I know other kids that did, but I was like, the whole time I was like, Savage this ain't gonna last.
I was a Savage guy. I loved that fucking maniac. I was a Brett guy, so that's funny. I wasn't as in the 90s as much of a Hulk guy. Well, especially because he was a heel. He was he played it perfectly. He wasn't always at Nitro. He only defended the belt every so often. I fucking hated Hollywood Hulk Hogan. The moment here of Bash at the Beach when it turned. The people throwing the fucking trash into the ring. Bischoff has since come out and said, well, we didn't discourage it. And that was probably bad on our, because it looked so fucking amazing.
Yes.
It became pretty regular to just throw your garbage in the ring at the middle of the night when the NWO makes their big stand.
And I gotta point this out for anyone that's checking this out and wondering why we're gushing over this moment in history. It's 1996. It is well established to 99% of the world. This is all a show. It's just entertainment. Just watch it and have fun. It is not real. It's not a competition. You just have to put on your suspension of disbelief. Everybody got it then. I don't know anybody except for special needs people. I don't know anyone that still clung on to any thought that this was real. When this fucking night happened, that changed the tune of a lot of people. That percentage changed. That percentage went to 99 to 90 because so many people were so pissed off that night, throwing trash in the ring. And I'm sure you recall the guy in the crowd that got so angry, he stormed the ring. And Scott Hall stomped the ever-loving fuck out of him.
The guys, it's a different generation now. So they weren't even around for the good old times of they're in our area. We got to do what you got to do.
The stories
he laid
that
those
Jim
fucking
Cornette
kicks
tells.
into that guy. He definitely did not hold back.
Yeah. It's like kids today, they're never kids today. Listen to us. They're never going to go through that era where people could actually piss off the crowd so much that a riot might happen, like that house show that WWF had during the DX era where Shawn Michaels pissed. I think it was Alabama or Arkansas. That might be one of the last times where they pissed the crowd off so much that a fucking riot actually happened.
The real to me, the NWO was the real part. Rey Mysterio and Dean Malenko. I was actually a Dean Malenko guy, as flashy and as awesome as Rey Mysterio was. Being a Brett guy, of course, I was a Dean Malenko guy in that fuel. When he was the subtle heel, I was still like, nope, man of 1,000 holds. He's my guy. Where's I leading up to that? I forget.
I wanted to add to it while you vamp in your brain to bring up your original thought here. One of the things I liked about Dean Malenko, and if you were watching live back then, he was, like you said, he was a subtle heel. He won all his matches fucking fair and square, at least 99% of them. I know he cheated the win a couple of times, but like the one gimmick that he did for almost like a solid straight year was he won each match with a different hold for a while, if you remember that. So it wasn't always like the power bomb into the Texas clover leaf. For almost a solid year, he would just win with a completely different hold. And supposedly Goldberg has said this, that he's the inventor of the jackhammer. I don't know that he ever did it on WCW television, but he definitely did it in Japan, and he did it from the second rope. So there's some just random Dean Malenko shit for you.
And my original point was I knew that was part of the show, but they created the atmosphere where Hall and Nash were not part of the show, and now Hogan is going against the show. The episode where they were at Disney or something, all the cameras that Turner had, they were over there for the Olympics. You guys have to. Oh, it was after this too. After this super hot angle in which they would sell out of a bunch of arenas, we need all these cameras for the Olympics in Atlanta. You guys have a residency here in the parking lot of Disney where people can just come and go. And once again, Rey Mysterio, Kevin Nash fucking launched him and actually got the police called on him. Like they were kind of giddy, like the locals called the police, someone's beating up the wrestlers.
The local, for those that might be checking this out and don't watch wrestling, it's like the locals that lived there could clearly see into that parking lot what was going on, and they didn't understand. They were watching pro wrestling. They didn't understand that what was said to have been reported was they thought it was literal gangs beating the shit out of people right next door to their homes.
That was that was so hot, got me hooked for life. We kind of skipped over some of the languishing years of Hogan.
Let's go back to the languishing years.
Because 80s hot, when he got the title back from the Warrior in 91, it's just kind of like we need someone. That was a flop. Hogan again. The 93 putting the belt on him, that was no one wanted that.
I mean,
nobody wanted the WWF title. Who's going to come out of WrestleMania? Bret Hart versus Yokozuna, the champion.
Go in there, Hulk, and get him. I've been blinded by salt. I can't do anything. Do it for us, Hulk.
That was an attempted, like, oh my god moment. That was more like an
it was definitely something.
And it's actually the Thunder in Paradise. That was the shooting on the same lot that WCW was shooting their stuff. They were able to just, hey brother, I'm not looking to do this full time. I'm really into Thunder in Paradise, and that was like such a big sticking point. I'm doing the Hollywood thing part time, and he kept doing the Hollywood thing part time. Fucking Three Ninjas and the what is it?
Something like High Valley or something.
There's a bunch of horse shit that we've never seen, but he kept doing it. I don't know how many were straight to video, how many got a small theater release, but he kept doing stuff and getting paid for it in Hollywood.
You can't now we know his movies are LOL. They're not anything. All of them are LOL. They're like, they're not worth watching except to like laugh at them. But he did have that epic little cameo in Gremlins 2 that was awesome, if you recall.
And I didn't see that. I had the VHS as a kid. On the VHS, they have John Wayne doing a shootout with the Gremlins. It wasn't until I saw it on HBO that I see the theatrical release of Hulk Hogan ripping off his shirt Get out of the booth, you gremlins. Yeah, for the VHS release, they took over the VCR and had a shootout with John Wayne. There's no Hogan in the VHS release. That's
So what they did a gimmick because it was on videotape. They were like, "Hey, we're going to do something different. We'll just take out Hogan and we're going to film something specifically for video cassettes." If I'm following you, okay.
Yeah, because that was the gag. Was the Gremlins just took over the movie? So in the movie, it goes into the theater, and Hogan's there towards the back. Excuse me, Mr. Hogan, could you help us? Gremlins have taken over the projector.
Oh, and the guy, I wish I knew the guy's name. The usher that got Hulk Hogan was a great character actor that was in like 1,000 movies. He was like, you would just go, "Oh, it's that guy again," but I never could catch his name. If you go back and watch it, you'll get what I'm getting at.
I do believe that Hulk Hogan, starring in Thunder in Paradise, was one of the quickest turnarounds of The Simpsons predicting the future. As Matt Hibner pointed out, Night Boat, the time-solving boat. I believe that might have been a clip show episode, or when Homer was telling a story. Look, there's our TV next to the mirror. It looks like we have two night boats playing. Oh,
and then that was some of the great stuff about The Simpsons. They would come up with great stuff like that out of the blue that would just last forever. I wanted to bring this up too. It's like going into still in that era of the very beginning of the NWO, but his like kind of beginning of his WCW career. When he first went over there, one of my prized collections, I don't have it with me. It's at my dad's house in storage. I've got a shitload of memorabilia from wrestling and from movies and shit at my dad's house. One of my prized possessions that I own, because I'm a theme music nerd and I don't hide from it at all, is I have the actual CD bought brand new the day it came out of Hulk Hogan and the Wrestling Boot Man, because I wanted his fucking new theme music and I wanted it now.
I'm American made.
And the rest of that CD is probably the worst pieces of music ever recorded in the history.
Wembley. He sings about wrestling at Wembley.
Wembley, yeah. And then there's the song that I hate making fun of. The music and everything is so awful, but it's about a Hulk Hogan fan in heaven, but it's just so bad and sappy.
I believe it's Wang. One of the internet sleuths have been digging up, trying to figure out who this child is Hogan is talking about. And once again, it's one of those things where he appears to be stretching the truth, and the child wasn't a Hulkamaniac. It's all about this horrible story from the UK news from around that time that he just said, what if he was a Hulkamaniac?
Well, what if?
And it became Hulkster from heaven.
What I was imagining, I was making this up in my head. I'm saying there's no truth to this whatsoever, but my thought was Hogan was just doing a bunch of coke one day and dreamed it up. It's like, I'm sure I've got a dead fan out there that matches this description. Let's put it to tape, Jimmy.
I think 90s Hulk was off the blow at that point, but he was under the influence of Linda. Oh boy, Linda Hogan. That's I loved. It was fascinating, and it was a terrible idea for him to have an open door to come on the Bubba the Love Sponge show while his marriage was in shambles and crumbling, so he could come on and just bitch about that. She got the lawyer telling her to find the money that I'm hiding. I gave her the paycheck. She was in charge of the finances. If there's hidden money, she hid it. I didn't have anything to do with the finances. They went to her.
And if we bring up Bubba the Love Sponge, we gotta go ahead and we have to address
his one-time best friend. What a way! I have some entertaining those friendships really really blew up, nothing quite like secretly taping my best friend fucking my wife.
and if he wasn't, and if he didn't tape it, then we wouldn't have the the stuff that the woke IWC and the woke rest of the world are still holding over Hulk Hogan's head and his legacy forever. He said the N-word a couple of times while he was, get right before he got romantic with the lady. Well, I mean, that's how I get romantic with the ladies. I don't know about the rest of you, but
he would rather not. Brooke, who is he's funding. He dropped a lot of money to get Brooke's singing career off the ground, and there were certain let's call them say rappers that Hogan wasn't too keen on her getting closer with.
No, not at all. But at least he did specify, at least if they were rich, it would be a little bit better. He just didn't want her going to the ghetto.
And Hogan didn't know this tape existed. Like, as soon as he walked out of the room and Bubba comes into Aaron Imholt Hogan's cum off his wife, he's like, well, maybe we could sell this for a lot of money if we're ever in hard times. So even when it wasn't him that leaked it, you got him immediately coming in acknowledging that we've got this. We've got our retirement plan if we want to. So the fact that went, the fact that you kept the cameras on. And for years after that, seeing Bubba on social media being like, one day could possibly be friends. No, you will never be friends with Hogan again. Fucking drop it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't you can't undo that. That's just, with it being a double whammy of it being the sex tape and the sex tape. The talk preceding the sex tape, that did so much damage to Hogan. There's no way. Yeah, he was in a dream world thinking they were going to repair that. No. And then you got to think, it's like, the apology tour that Hogan basically was on the rest of his life. Because, all right, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong on my timeline. Didn't that get recorded? I'm just guessing it was around 2008.
That sounds right for the timeline for when Hogan and Bubba were best friends. I was listening to Bubba on Sirius at the time, so that was 06, 07, 08. That I would have been listening to Bubba, and they were in tight. And TNA. He got him in a job with TNA Wrestling. Jumping forward a bit to this iconic photo of
good Lord,
and Hulk Hogan. They were still buddies in, was that early 2010 that he got over there, early 2009, and got all the, like, Hogan is so good for the Hogan business.
Yeah,
hiring him
for the Hogan business
for creative of TNA Wrestling in 2009. Oh boy, that stunk.
I've tried to explain this to people forever, and I don't think no one can completely get it. There are some wrestlers out there, it's like, okay, they're great to have on your roster, but you have to write and book for them, and then you will create magic. Well, CM Punk is someone, you can leave it up to him, and you're good both ways. You're going to get a performance in the ring, and you're going to get a great storyline if it all came from him. But not everybody's a CM Punk. Hogan is, no, absolutely do not let him. At most, I mean, I guess if you got to give him veto power, but do not let him write and come up with storylines whatsoever, because I can't really tell you what happened in TNA with Hulk Hogan, except for I was making the face the entire time. I
was half a fan of TNA. Like I dipped my foot into TNA wrestling so many times.
Yeah.
The first time I remember they were still on Fox Sport Net.
Yeah.
And they had their stupid reverse ladder match with
Ah.
6 people, and I was like, as long as Jeff Jarrett doesn't win this, I'm going to continue watching. If it's Christian, if it's Monty Brown,
Yeah.
if it might have even been Chris Harris. It probably wasn't Chris Harris.
Probably wasn't him.
But
No.
out of the 6 people in that stupid reverse ladder match, I was like, I will keep being a fan. And God damn it, Jeff, I know it's your business, but for fuck's sake, this is not how you grow it.
No. Yeah, I mean, Jeff Jarrett, I think he's kind of more or less said on his podcast and other interviews, he kind of came from that Dusty Rhodes mindset of like, well, if you can't trust anyone else, just put the belt on yourself to buy you some time. I think that's what he was doing there, but don't quote me on that.
It would have done everyone a good job, whatever year I'm talking about, to put the belt on Monty Brown or one of the other 4 people in that fucking match instead of yourself. You gosh darn 1983 thinking Jarrett, you. Matt Hibner asks, real question, Dixie Carter would or wouldn't? Absolutely would. She's rich. She would buy me stuff. And she's not, she dolls herself up. I don't know what she looks like under that pound of makeup, but I bet you she's still not bad looking underneath that pound of makeup.
And I'm what I'm using as my point of reference is when I first started seeing her on TV, and like, I don't know, I'm just going to say 2009 or 2010 when she first started actually coming on TV. She looked like a pretty hot MILF, and like she was even hotter because you knew that she was a multi-millionaire, and her family owned that electric company that used to be literally 30 minutes for me, but that's long out of business too. But they were so filthy fucking rich.
So those were the dark times.
Yes.
When Dixie Carter hired him not to be an on-air person, but a behind the scenes. There's a rumor, I guess it was the OSW guys who claimed that World War III 1995, Hogan was rebooking on the fly. I haven't heard anything to substantiate that, but he did become a nightmare during that "it doesn't work for me, brother" time of WCW when he could. It was written in his contract that you could say that doesn't work for me, brother, where that held some weight at all times, but contractually, before WCW, it wasn't in there.
If there was any truth to that whatsoever, I know what that timeline is. World War III, that was the War Games match, wasn't it?
That was the 3-ring battle royal.
Okay, shit. I'm trying to think though if I'm not getting it convoluted with Big Van Vader was fired 1 week before one of those pay-per-views.
It's WCW. It's convoluted. Vader was 1995 Fall Brawl War Games. He was fired right before that, and then shenanigans with the Giant at Halloween Havoc in October. To the 60-man battle royal in November.
And I gotta say this too. I mean, the Giant, kind of segueing a little bit because that was like a Hogan pet project because Hogan liked to work against big people. He liked to basically be like a giant slayer. He liked wrestling Big Boss Man, King Kong Bundy, Andre the Giant, Earthquake. He loved being kind of a giant slayer. Then the way they built up the Giant back then, I can tell you as a kid, they made him unbeatable. I could not. There was no way in hell I could ever say anyone was ever going to beat the Giant, even Hogan. They had me convinced they created an unbeatable monster.
How could you stop the NWO now that they have the Giant on their side?
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't make a lick of sense that he beat him for the title, and then a month later the Giant joins him. I remember, that being one of the things that I would overthink the hell out of those. Why did this happen with the NWO? Because fuck it. Because shocking. That's why.
Man, I got to say one more thing about the Giant. We'll get back to the Hogan. I got to tell you this: watching at the age that I was, and I was convinced that the Giant was unbeatable, unstoppable. While the Giant was in the middle of that first world heavyweight run, he had that match against Scott Steiner, where I found out Scott Steiner was the strongest motherfucker to ever live on planet Earth when he did that side salto suplex, and I screamed so loud I swear my windows exploded. I couldn't believe what I just saw. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I remember Luger racking him. I don't remember Steiner. So that would have been early '96 that this happened. I'm not sure what event that would have been.
Yeah, it was very, very early '96 because it was before the NWO, obviously, because it was a title match. And it's one of the Nitros, and if you watch it, holy shit, I mean, I couldn't believe what I saw. Scott Steiner dipped under that motherfucker, and he wasn't struggling to throw him either. He threw him like he would throw fucking Rey Mysterio Jr. It was outstanding.
Hogan, before getting into the NWO there, he had the Rogues Gallery of the Dungeon of Doom. Matt Hibner is calling him the bad version of the Heenan family.
Yeah.
Instead of it building each year with King Kong Bundy, big. Oh, Andre the Giant, the biggest. Hakeem and Boss Man, two bigs. We had just cartoon. It was literally cartoony segments. The one that's gotten very popular in meme communities is when Hogan is knocked out and wakes up in whatever the fuck that dungeon is. Well, it's the dungeon. It's the Dungeon of Doom.
He was in the dungeon somewhere. I was hoping you were going to bring that up more than anything. There's nothing I love more than "It's not hot."
Yeah, Hogan thought that would be a funny line to stick his hand under the water. It's not hot.
Well, it was funny.
Making it goofy.
It was funny, but not for the reasons he wanted it to be. God, that was one of the ones. If I could figure it out, I was like, I will take the chance and try to find the video of "It's Not Hot" just to play it because of how stupid it was.
Hogan, I guess let's lead up to we can't skip over 97 and before Road Wild, Hogan versus Lex Luger. Lex Luger earned that title shot at Spring Stampede. It was a four-way match of two tag teams, but it's four corners, only one winner. Of Luger, the Giant, versus and Harlem Heat, and Booker T cut a legendary promo on Hogan on that Spring Stampede,
which I don't think we should say on YouTube, but we can get close. It ends with Hulk Hogan.
All the fans know what comes next after Hulk Hogan. We coming for you.
And if you
just
like,
and
if you like that South Park episode, it was something about people who nag. So
Booker T immediately realized what he said when he said, "Hulk Hogan, we coming for you," and he put his hands up. I just dropped an N-bomb on pay-per-view, and Sherry is just comforting him. Obviously, they do a lot of those live promos, pre-taped before the show. Obviously, this was not one of them. This was live, pal. Just like
live, pal,
at the beginning of the show.
And now Bischoff talked about that a couple of years ago on his podcast, and when I listened to him talk about it, I don't know what he said, but I remember thinking, this is all a lie. What Eric Bischoff is saying right now is all a lie. He didn't even know it happened.
The problem with Bischoff and his podcast is he doesn't have as good of a memory as Bruce Pritchard. Bruce Pritchard and Jim Cornette both have incredible memories.
Yes.
And Jim Cornette has records.
Yes,
that's what makes him even more reliable. Well, I was going to say that makes him more reliable than Bruce. Also, the fact Bruce is notoriously full of shit makes Jim more reliable.
I mean, if you want to, for anyone out there interested, for anyone that wants a great example of just listening to Bruce Pritchard be full of shit, listen to Bruce Pritchard talk about the NWO and WWF, especially the part where he defends Stone Cold Steve Austin pouring beer on an alcoholic's head, and you will have the perfect example of Bruce Pritchard being full of shit.
He is so proud of that custody of Dominic Mysterio ladder match. I thought that was the stupidest fucking thing in the world. He speaks of such pride of having a child's custody on the line. And it is a fun little Easter egg, the fact that Dominic Mysterio is one of the most over guys in the WWE currently.
And I know it. I know they're eventually going to do something where one of Dominique's girlfriends on TV eventually have a ladder match for the custody of grown-up mullet-headed Dominic Mysterio. I know it. They're current day WWE is well aware of memes instantly after they happen, unlike the old days. They never got the...
Oh, the newest episode of OSW Review that just dropped. There's a training mode in WWE 2K25 that mentions that some consider the second rope the most dangerous rope. And it's like, that's obviously no one else but Jay Hunter and the OSW guys. And it made its way onto the WWE game, the meme of Brett's rope, the most dangerous rope, the second rope.
The only person that ever made that second rope look dangerous was Bret Hart, and the way he would drive that elbow straight down. He made that thing look like it would kill a motherfucker. And you always knew when Bret Hart wasn't going to hit it, because if he was going to hit it, he went down straight. If he wasn't going to hit it, he would do it like Macho Man. He would go to the side. So those are a little funny Easter eggs there. But yeah,
that was one of the big balls dropped to me by Brett in general with WCW.
Yeah.
But turning him into just an NWO lackey bitch when people wanted Hogan versus Brett. I think they might have done it once on a throwaway Nitro.
Yes,
I feel like I remember hearing that happened. But that was such a money match that it basically never happened. Even though you hear me, a super fan, I had to ask you, another super fan. It happened, right?
It happened. It 100% happened, and it was during, again, WCW was always convoluted. As much as we look back on it with rose-colored glasses, a lot of times now you can't forget a lot of the completely asinine decisions. The entire Bret Hart run is an asinine decision. It was just a complete waste of everybody's time and money and yada, yada, yada. But that match in particular, that was during the time where WCW was just retcon shit, week to week. It was like 1 week Bret Hart has a match against Hulk Hogan, and I swear it wasn't like 2 weeks later that it was like, it was all a swerve. Bret Hart's really our ally.
Okay, it was one of the million times that for no reason we're going to make Sting look like an imbecile again, even though it's beyond reasonable doubt that that was one of the ones with Flair getting off on another WCW, Flair versus Anderson at Fall Brawl 95. That then turned into December of we got you again, Sting.
We got you again, Sting. Fuck you.
That was such a shitty way to wrap up the Ric Flair and Arn feud. We made up at some point behind the scenes. Fuck you, Sting. We got you again.
And as far as I remember as a fan, that was all you got. You got like one sentence at some point that was basically like, yeah, we did feud, but we made up and we decided, fuck you, Sting. And I'm like, man, that's what? Huh?
It's the old reliable. When you and your wife need to something to get back on the same page. Let's go out and fuck Sting together.
You just go into the other room and listen.
When I say fuck Sting together, like she would get them all hot and heavy and then leave them blue balled. Like, come on. We're getting a bit away from Hogan, but boy, is WCW quite the well of entertainment.
Oh, it is. There's so many. It's one of these things. If I don't blurt it out now, and it's kind of reaching a little bit, it is related to Hogan. But it's one of those things like, where am I ever going to be able to bring this up again in my life? I mean, there's not going to be a point. So it'll all make sense in a second. Okay. Back in those days, fans were encouraged to bring, signs to the ring. You would see a sea of signs everywhere, starting in like 96, which the unofficial beginning of the Attitude Era, not completely unofficial. You just started noticing WWF using some, naughty language, especially like a certain episode of, what Jerry Lawler said to Goldust live. We're live, pal.
Yeah. He said a couple of times. The one I did remember is when he said, aren't you?
Aren't you? You're quite.
I forgot about the other one you're talking about, where he goes full on.
Now, are you talking about the one? And I never found out the backstory, so I'm going to go for the fences. Jerry Lawler gave a very heated pre-match interview about his upcoming match with Goldust, and he referred to Goldust's daughter as a target because, do you know what I'm getting at?
I know when he screamed out, "You're a flaming." Yeah, at the top of it. I remember him mentioning Dakota.
Yeah, and Dakota. I think I guess I'm gonna have to even my small minuscule channel. I guess I better be kind of careful with how I say this. I think Jerry Lawler thought Dakota might have been older than what she was because he was referring to Dakota as someone of a loose sexual morals,
and she was in grade school.
Yes. And he said something like, she has a target on her and everybody is something related to Target. And he said it loud and angry, and I was watching it live, and I remember looking over at my girlfriend at the time, and I was like, and I basically said the old, I know wrestling's fake, but I think they'll just might try to kill that motherfucker when they get into the ring in a few minutes.
Actually, before we get too far away from the Stinger,
more Hulk Hogan memories coming up soon, everybody.
Yeah, I want to segue back to the Stinger because Hogan, when he didn't have it in his contract, TNA creative stunk. His WCW creative influence said, "You know what, brother? I don't think Sting should squash me. I think I should dominate the match, and then we'll have a screwy finish." It's
because he wasn't tan. Remember, he wasn't tan enough.
Hogan did a little mind trick on Bischoff, and it's funny that Bischoff, in coming up with why we didn't go with the original plan, that's what he's able to regurgitate out because Hogan did his little Hogan mind trick.
Yep,
on Bischoff, and that's the best that Bischoff can regurgitate. He wasn't 10, therefore he wasn't serious.
And what I was screaming when I was hearing that was like, you motherfuckers booked Sting to be a mute, depressed, basically like goth. Who the fuck is a depressed goth that goes to the tanning bed? He was doing what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to be pale, you bastard.
That's got like the shining beacon of Hulk Hogan fucking the business for his insecurities. That's got to be what it was his ego was like, I can't get rid. I just gave this to Luger for a week. Which, by the way, Luger was over like God when he put him over at Road Wild because they got sued for calling it Hog Wild.
Yep.
Luger was just never the same again because it was once again Sting's spot that we need to give you something or else you're going to be dead in the water. But then after giving it back to him, it was 1 week. That's right. He won it on a Nitro, lost it back to Hogan at Road Wild.
Mm-hmm.
Luger was fucking dead after making him look like such a fool for just 6 days. And then it was Goldberg. Or no. Yeah. Sting. Sting. Convoluted stuff happens. Blah blah blah. Hogan gets the title back again. Then Goldberg gets it, and Hogan was never able to get his win back from Goldberg.
No, not that I know of, unless I'm just forgetting, unless something like a dumb tag match happened that we all forgot about. Well, after the streak was over, unless we're talking about something like that, I don't recall. I don't remember Hogan ever getting a pinfall on Goldberg, but that might be just me not remembering. I don't
recall them being in the ring ever again, Hogan and Goldberg. But he saw that, we sold a shitload of tickets to the Georgia Dome. We've got all the businessmen from Atlanta here tonight. Let's drop the title, brother. And he saw those dollar signs. He just wasn't able to pick up that other end of having a Goldberg rematch like he envisioned.
Now this is where again we've talked about.
Why.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I know why. Because of the fuckery. Goldberg lost it to Nash, the finger poke of doom, which is what stopped me being a fan. That was it. Hogan again. That was it. I had enough of Hogan as champion. I guess that was December 98 leading into 99. That was when I just completely stopped tuning into Nitro. Sorry, Hogan. It was a Hogan overdose of you being champion again that made me stop switching the channels back and forth.
Yeah.
So then, Goldberg, did he injure himself? Did he fuck himself up? Whatever it was, it didn't come to fruition. It was supposed to be from there. NWO reforms. Goldberg goes through them one by one, beating Hogan at the end. And whatever the fuck happened, I stopped paying attention to WCW at that point.
I can fill in the blank. It was like immediately after that fuckery, there was maybe it was the next episode or something like that. That was when Goldberg injured himself busting out the windows of that limo, and he cut an artery.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. Due to him dropping the lead pipe. He was supposed to have a lead pipe to break out the windows of this limo. I dropped it. I've got fucking arms.
It's just a window. And it's sprayed too. And that, okay, so now that we're in this era, it was around this time that and this is where I'm getting kind of, I guess the old age and muddy, cloudy history is starting to come in. At some point, Flair comes back, and he has a match against Eric Bischoff for control of WCW. And there's also like a match between Flair and Hogan, I believe, for control of WCW. Is that sparking a memory for you?
Okay, it was the same Starrcade that Goldberg lost the title to Nash. That actually Bischoff beat Flair. Then I was at Nitro the next night. That was in DC. In Baltimore the next night, they had a rematch where Flair did beat Bischoff and get control of as president, or maybe it was after that. I don't fucking know.
Something like that.
Or did I make it? Yes, I definitely. That was like one of my last times going to a WCW show. Okay. I remember Nash doing the promo, leaning over, saying, we'll have a match with Goldberg next week. And then, oh boy. Yeah, that was the good times were over. Hogan's WWF revival. That thank goodness that he was able to come back and be the undisputed champion. That was a bunch of garbage the last couple of years of WCW.
It was just
madness and shit happening.
It's almost like not worth talking about, really. Basically after the finger poke of doom, there you may as well just forget anything happened after the finger poke. You just fast forward to the WWF.
And you were jogging my memories with the President Flair versus Hogan feud, and the NWO just kind of fades away. They didn't have the big. They
did not have any blow off. That's what always disappointed me totally about the NWO and WCW and WWF. They never got like decimated. They never had the match that was like, and if WCW wins, the NWO must disband forever. And it didn't happen WWF either, because that's when all those shenanigans happened. Vince McMahon comes out to the NWO music and says, "That's the last time you're going to hear that music. The NWO is no more." And you could still, if you go back and watch that show, you can still see that they didn't completely rewrite it, because that was also the episode that Eric Bischoff debuted, and some people were still mentioning the NWO throughout the show, so I don't think everybody got the memo. But yeah, that always bothered me about the NWO. They never got taken out. There was never an end. It just faded away. There was the black and white and the red and black, and then they come back together, and then
that's right. It was the NWO Elite, and then the optics were really bad because you had the elite guys like Hulk Hogan and Scott Steiner. And then you had the schlubs in the lesser NWO, which was
Horace
like Virgil
Hogan
and Stevie Ray.
Yeah,
Horace Hogan was like the one white dude. Hogan, even back then, you can be in the NWO, but you wear this NWO shirt. We're going to wear this NWO shirt.
What I want you to find, if you can find it, this one, I mean, by now it's got to be up. It was one of the things me and my friends mocked relentlessly during that very, 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 very beginning of the Hulk Hogan red and black NWO. Do you remember, it was like the week after it all happened, for some reason, never explained and never done again, Hulk Hogan came out with the NWO, and he was dressed ultra hip and cool. He was wearing Jinko jeans and a top that looked like something Conan would wear.
Those are like the June after the Bash at the Beach, June, July's that he's doing that. I'm gonna have to look at those. Actually, I think that was later that he started trying to be hip with his wear. You're talking about the Jinko jeans. Yes. I am starting to get memories where I think that was a bit later in the run, where the Wolfpack and the black and white had reformed together. I think it was during that time that he started wearing the Jinkos.
It's that time, and as far as I remember, he only did it once, and maybe he did it a couple of times, but I remember watching it live. It's like, did someone trick him into thinking this was a good idea? He's like 44 years old, and he's dressing like an 18-year-old Limp Bizkit fan. Like, what the fuck am I looking at here? and
we've kind of jumped around. We've hit most points of his career. He did get in. He kept being a business partner with Eric Bischoff. During the divorce, he sold the rights and the name and all the trademark of Hulk Hogan and the Hulkamania to Eric Bischoff for $1. So he trusted him enough to be like, I can't own this. I would like to own this after Linda is done just ravaging everything, and I have nothing. And he had nothing. That Gawker lawsuit, Gawker is the one that put out that sex tape, I believe. And the Gawker lawsuit is what helped him get more millions. He kept putting his name on stuff till the very end. He was grinding that real American fucking beer.
Yeah.
And shoot, I think I was going to mention. Oh yes, the Bischoff Hervey Productions era. Hulk Hogan's celebrity wrestling, Hulk Hogan's micro championship wrestling on country music television.
Yeah, that's it. It goes back to like Hogan should have other people make decisions for him. He should have never been able to do any of that shit. Someone should have just said, "That doesn't work for me, brother."
That had to be post-divorce.
Yeah.
That had to be Bischoff and Jason Hervey wanting to produce a show and needing that Hulk Hogan name in order to get Screech and Danny
Bonaducci?
What's his name? Bonaducci there. They were the ringers there on the celebrity wrestling. Oh no. It was Rodman. That's right. They had Rodman because Rodman was skipping basketball practice to cut a promo on Nitro back in the day with Hogan. They were
NBA
fucking around.
Yeah, he skipped practice for the NBA finals, not just regular practice for a regular game. and he was coming out smoking cigars with Hogan.
And I love Doug Stanhope on stage. You know, I can smoke on stage because of some horseshit faggot Tennessee Williams type of law. So it's in some states that, yeah, you can come out with a cigar. It's part of a performance. The Giant we mentioned when they were trying to turn a bad guy and they had him smoking cigarettes. Actually, the last time I remember seeing that was R-Truth. When
he did that
right before they turned him into a goofball for life. He was out there smoking cigarettes as an actual bad guy.
Yeah, they would start and stop with R-Truth. He would be goofy and then serious, goofy and serious. And I guess right now he's in his final serious act. I don't know. I don't keep up with it.
It was a decade of goofiness. And it appears he's actually being a serious fellow.
I think he's trying to retire as a serious, because I mean he's in his 50s. I mean, we forget that because look at how great shape he's in, but he's in his 50s, so he's probably wanting to retire and have a legacy as going out as a serious character for once. That's speculation.
Man,
rumor and innuendo.
That he's 50 and Hogan was 71 when he passed. His last match must have been the TNA Sting match, right?
If it
was either a tag match or a single.
I believe. Oh God, I want to say it was a tag match, and you could tell that basically everybody got the memo. Hogan was not going to bump. He was not going to take an actual on it. He might get down on the ground, but he's going to get down slowly on. But he ain't taking any kind of like bump to the ground. Whatever his last match was, there was no actual bump from Hogan, is my memory. Because his back was so fucked at that time, it probably would have killed him.
And then it only got fuckter. He's stuck around since, was that 2012, 2013? I forget when this was, but the match must have been right before this in 2012. And look at that screen. If this screenshot was just a moment later, we would get the date 20
something. If we just had time for that graphic over there to finish loading the next two numbers, but no, they had the screen grab it right there.
I'm not sure what his final WCW match was. Matt Hibner says, "Oh, that was Bash at the Beach." Yeah, the Vince Russo, Jeff Jarrett lay down.
We finally got the whole story from that. It wasn't a complete fuck job. It was all the shit that we saw when Hogan was on the screen on that pay-per-view was actually agreed upon, and this, that, and the other. It was the shit
and
that went on.
Calling him a bald bastard.
Yeah.
Vince Russo having to put himself over and call Hogan you can't call Hogan a bald bastard, at least not when he was alive. He was still very sensitive about that.
Yeah, even then. But yeah, it's like they had a pretty decent storyline going on, but then if Russo just wouldn't have went into business for himself a little bit later on in that program, they would have probably had a pretty interesting story, because I think it was going to lead up to months later. You know, Hogan was going to come back with his belt and wrestle whoever was the champion at that time, and have basically a WCW version of an undisputed belt. But well, that never happened because that Vince Russo idiot just screwed it up.
He never came back. His last WWF match must have been against Yokozuna in '93, the first time I'm talking about.
Yes, yeah, where the cameraman was actually some sort of evil doer that had like an explosive device.
I believe that was a Hogan ending. I think Hulk Hogan called for the exploding camera flame in his face. I think he was getting more fantastical. He wanted to put Yokozuna over, but he's still Hogan. So there needs to be something. A fireball from a camera.
Yeah, he probably put, I imagine it was like Hogan putting his foot down, probably almost getting right to the point of saying, you know what, well, maybe I just won't go out there. I mean, I can't imagine him actually saying that to Vince McMahon, but I think he was probably getting pretty close. Like, you know what, I don't know what the future holds, and I can't put the fucker over clean. You're just going to have to do something, you know.
Supposedly there is a photo shoot of him and Brett where they were going to do a babyface match.
Yeah.
That they never promoted on TV, but I'm pretty sure it was uncovered, the photo shoot that they did to promote this match that they initially thought they were going to do.
And when I saw a photo in it, the photo I saw, unless it was some sort of Photoshop AI trickery, it was a black and white picture of Hogan and Brett, and they were kind of having a tug of war with the belt. That's what my memory. It is. Yeah, okay.
That's the one that came out. Speaking of the fireball, Matt Hibner points out Hogan tried to Hadouken the Warrior too. The second Hogan Warrior match where he can't get the fucking paper lit, and he finally does in his own fucking face and burns his goddamn eyebrows off.
It looked like if you just showed that to someone that didn't watch wrestling at all, you could just make up something random right before that happens and just say, and Hogan was so hooked on crack cocaine. Look what he's doing there. He's pulling out a sandwich bag full of crack in that lighter. He's getting ready to do crack in the ring.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. He had a whole fucking kit in the ring. It looked like he was going to
crack cocaine kit. Fucking ring. And like, oh, he wanted it so bad it blew up in his face. God, it's like
that has to be the worst Hogan match. We might have to do a Rumble watch along of Hogan versus Warrior 2 and Hogan's final match. I can't think of other Hogan bottom of the barrel matches. Of course, he never put on a clinic, but he got the crowd in it, where both, as we mentioned earlier, the crowd in both the Toronto WrestleManias pushed that match to like 4.5 stars, each of them.
Did you by chance?
I guess I do have to agree with Meltzer. Almost a 5-star match. Maybe it was a 5-star match. I don't know. I don't want to agree with Meltzer. It was 5 stars. Fuck you, Meltzer.
Yeah, I mean that Hogan Rock match will end the time. That's got to be the craziest the crowd has ever been, as far as I can remember. And if anything happened after that, I don't even consider that real anyway.
And they pivoted. Like they would back in the day, they would work on the house shows beforehand to get a rhythm going and figure out what their pay-per-view match is going to be with what they can do together. I've heard that they did have private matches together, Hogan and Rock, because they weren't going to put them out on the house show schedule, but like workout and dry match sessions. I heard that when you see them and the crowd erupts and decides Hogan is the good guy, both of them switch in their head subtly what we're going to do in this match.
Oh, there's so much, communication. People don't understand the way wrestlers can communicate without talking. And that match is a perfect example of it. They're just looking around, and they could tell by looking around. It's like, okay, they both were on the same page instantly.
Yeah, what we were gonna do, a little variant. We're not going exactly. We're gonna have to tune it, because you're God in Toronto again, Hogan. Of course you are. Toronto has always loved you.
Oh yeah, they love that sound. But did you happen to see the isolated audio that WWE put out of like about 1 minute of that match? They put it out yesterday. There's no commentary.
Just the crowd going fucking nuts.
And it's official. So it was on. I think it was on the WWE Instagram. I saw it on YouTube. And you don't have it's just one camera angle of it, and the camera pulls back and goes. It's the the hard cam, the hard cam side. You know how AEW makes sure to point out. It's like, that was the hard cam side. That's why there was no fans. But WWE never had to worry about that. But yeah, it was from that one camera angle, and you got to hear the crowd absolutely lose their shit, and it was just it gave it a new way to watch that part of the match. I recommend anyone going to see that. I don't know. It's what was Hogan's last proper match where he actually took bumps? I don't recall him taking any bumps in TNA. I might be wrong, but I don't.
So the
remember.
Mr. America run would be it would be amongst his last like matches. Did he might have done a few of his independent tours after? Actually, I think he did. I believe that he did some independent tours in Australia but he was that also might be past the point you're talking about of like a match, because that was a few years later. So I think Mr. America's matches would be the final like matches of Hogan.
No, that they're officially that I know of. There are some after that. There's the match with Randy Orton and the match with Shawn Michaels, and that was after. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels wasn't too happy, so he kind of acted up a little bit.
Shawn Michaels took it to 11. He was more professional about it than he was when Vader forgot to move, and he just yells at him, "Move!" But it was an absolute parody of a match.
Yes.
I don't think WWE even has the proper version on online anymore of how over the top he went with his selling. So that might be it. It was I think that was the last time he dropped in for a match, was because I forgot about that. Him dropping in for Orton and him dropping in for Shawn Michaels. So I guess that is the last tist.
And I don't know which one is the last. I mean, I think it was SummerSlam 2005 for Shawn Michaels, but I don't know when that Orton match was. I don't know if it was before or after. I can't remember off the top of my head. I mean, we have the internet, but that feels like cheating.
Yeah, I started cheating. I just typed in Hulk Hogan into cage match, and I haven't guided this before, so I'm just kind of looking matches. Okay, here is he had a few in TNA. Hulk Hogan. Oh, and here is his tour. So 2009, Hogan defeating Flair in his tour. that was every night. Hogan defeats Flair. Hogan defeats Flair.
No shit.
Hogan defeats Flair. Hogan defeats Flair. Hogan defeats Paul White. Oh, there's a new. Oh, because that's in 2007, not 2009.
Yeah, there was like a month that the Big Show wasn't under contract to WWE. It was some like really short window of time, and he went and did that.
And that was in Memphis in 2007. And there it is, 2006, Randy Orton, 2005, Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
2005, Kurt Angle as well. Wait, he
Yeah,
defeated Kurt Angle? I feel like I remember the one a few years before that when Angle beat him. I'm having. I
well,
don't
yeah, I don't
recall any of
remember
this
the rematch.
2005 run.
Yeah, I don't remember the rematch at all. I do remember Hogan, giving him a clean, he tapped out clean the Kurt Angle. That was, you could just tell that was like one of those things like Vince McMahon saying, Hogan, God damn it, Hogan. Okay, so you're going to have to lose to some fuckers because you're old. And I knew it was on purpose. Like, I want you to lose to Lesnar, but not to his F5. I want you to pass out in that bear hug to get that motherfucker over as strong as he is. And Hogan, I guess, was like, yes, sir, I guess so. And then later on, like, Hogan, you've never tapped where you're fucking tapping the night. You're tapping the Kurt Angle. All right.
And Kurt Angle was Kurt Angle, so it made sense.
Oh, yeah.
This one caught my eye. In 2003, after the Mr. America run, he defeats Masahiro Chono in Japan.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, that's random.
In a 20-minute match.
20 fucking minutes?
Yeah, 20-minute match with Masahiro Chono in 2003. And here's our final matches of Hulk Hogan. A run in 2005 I didn't remember that climaxed with him against Shawn, against Randy, and then the tour matches. Flair lost to him every single time except for the time the Big Show lost to him.
I guess Flair needed the night off.
TNA matches. Abyss and Hogan defeat AJ and Ric Flair. Abyss and Hogan defeat AJ and Ric Flair. Sting defeats Hogan. Oh, man. That the less said about the Abyss-mania, the better.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got to point out this, too. It was another one of those, like, I don't know why they're doing this. None of this makes sense. All right, this is where I get long-winded we already know that wrestling is kind of a nerdy thing to like anyway, but we're comfortable with that. We're becoming elder statesmen. We don't care anymore. It's like there's no hot bikini girls watching this show. You're like, all right, am I going to ask these guys out on a date? They better not be too nerdy about this wrestling shit, or I'm not going to do it. I don't think that scenario is happening, so I'm going to go for it. So Hogan's in TNA. He brings Jimmy Hart with him. Now, part of that theme music nerdum shit. Jimmy Hart did a couple of theme songs for TNA during that time, and he kind of gifted them. Like, basically what I was told by reliable sources, but still rumor and innuendo, like WWE full ownership of the Wrestling Boot Band album, including the Hulk Hogan WCW theme that Jimmy Hart wrote. So Jimmy Hart just did it again. He just wrote it again, but he did it an instrumental. If you remember Abyss-mania, Abyss came out to an instrumental of American Made. Do you recall that at all?
I don't recall that one. I recall Hogan's NWO sounded like theme.
Yeah, and that was a Jimmy.
I figured that was a Jimmy Hart original. That off-brand.
And what made it even more infuriating to me was like, Jimmy, why don't you just cover your already cover of the NWO theme that you did for the NWO Japan CD that came out in like 96 in Japan? It's absolute dog shit, but it's great to collect if you just want to collect this old bullshit like I do.
That sounds different than the NWO B team. I actually liked the NWO B team song.
Oh yeah, I did too.
Oh, now we are getting full OSW review singing songs like this.
Now, another thing, this again, file this under possible rumor and innuendo. It might not be factual, but there were reliable sources that said there were 2 production themes that WWE ended up outright purchasing. Like they can no longer license them out to random commercials and bullshit anymore. One is Rock House, which is the NWO theme. And the other is Booker T's music.
I've heard that Booker bought that himself. Did WWE buy it? Because they tried to get rid of that and give him a WWE owned theme. I heard that Booker himself was like, "No, I'm buying." Whoever bought it, they realized really quick, "No, we need what he had."
Yeah,
I heard on Kids in the Hall back in the day. They have that with Scott. I forget if he's a woman
Francesca
or if it's a gay
Fiore.
person.
It's Francesca Fiore. It was for a perfume commercial that they did.
With the Harlem Heat theme in it. You remember it even better than I do.
Yeah, I'm one of those Kids in the Hall stands. That's all. The 90s is where I just want. If I die and God turns out to be real, I'm just like, can you, if you're all powerful, can you just say, fuck it, let me go live from, 91 to 2002 and just stay there? I mean, other themes that you might remember that were on Kids in the Hall. One of Rick Rude's WCW themes was played on there. One of Big Van Vader's themes was played on there, and there was a few others. So the Kids in the Hall people used the same bucket of library music that WCW liked to use. If you ever want to go down that rabbit hole.
Well, we could definitely go down another rabbit hole. I do have to tap out here soon.
Oh, yeah.
It's getting to be 5:40 somewhere. Actually, it's my butt that's dropping the leg on me. Well, it's going to drop something somewhere if I don't wrap this up sooner than later. And,
we're touching cotton at this late hour.
That poo humor seemed more proper for Vince McMahon than Hulk Hogan, but Dookie was a huge line there from No Holds Barred.
Dookie. So we hope everybody loved our really, really professional going down the memory lane of Hulk Hogan.
Actually, it's lucky that your internet had some troubles right before we went up, so I could get together a few pictures of Hogan so we could do a little bit of a slideshow.
Yeah, at least we have that.
I love this. This was Hogan's last appearance on TNA Wrestling. Was Dixie grabbing him? Don't leave. No.
He got to leave and be self-serving on the way out. So he got to kind of add to that legacy of Hulk Hogan being kind of a self-serving prick. I don't know.
And they let him do it. They let him do it.
Let him do it.
They were happy to let him do it.
And then just super quick, some of the lies of Hulk Hogan that were like, his legacy is like untouchable. So I kind of always wondered why a couple of the lies that he put out there, like we touched on a couple earlier, but like why he inflated Andre the Giant's weight and would like randomly say he was something like 800 pounds and that he tore every muscle in his
later.
And he tore every muscle in his entire body, lifting him up for that body slam. And I'm like,
I don't think we touched on him playing bass for Metallica potentially. He played bass. He was never in the running for Metallica, as he liked to say.
Never. I'm sure. I'm just saying this randomly. I don't even know that he has. I'm sure there's some movie roles that he said he was up for that he turned down that ended up going to someone else and became $1 billion. I'm sure there's at least one of those. Like the George Foreman grill.
Oh, I fucking love that one. Here's someone put together a few of Hulk Hogan's bangers. The George Foreman grill, I love that one so much because that's not how business works. You don't miss a phone call. Like if they want you first, they're gonna really try to get you first. But I was busy and I missed the phone call, and they just couldn't wait an afternoon for me to return it. So George Foreman got the George Foreman grill. This one is one of my favorites. In Hogan's second autobiography, My Life Outside the Ring. He claims to have wrestled 400 days a year. He claims it was flying back and forth to Japan, which added days to his year. So I like that in his flight plan, he gains days, but he never loses days somehow on his way of flying around the world.
And to point this out too, he didn't need to do that because there were some days in the mid 80s where he did wrestle twice. He would wrestle in like New York for an afternoon show, and then a couple of states over for an evening show. Now, it wasn't every night, 365 days a year, but there are records of him legitimately.
He might have wrestled 400 times a year.
Yeah.
400 days a year.
No. Two different things. He did not become the master of time travel, but only in the universe of pro wrestling.
I never heard Hulk Hogan say about being in line to play bass for Rolling Stones. According to this guy, that he claimed that, as well as Metallica. I definitely heard. Oh, this one are some of the more recent ones. Hulk Hogan claiming to be a Pride fighter in the 70s.
Oh my God.
Pride, which was founded in the late 90s.
Yes. Maybe he was prideful. I don't know.
I could actually believe that someone contacted him for the first UFC. I could believe that banger. There we go. I clicked the wrong thing to get on some of Hogan's other ones. Hogan has said that he partied with John Belushi after WrestleMania 2. Belushi passed away in 82. WrestleMania 2 was 86.
Well, he might have been a little juicy if he was.
Oh, the stories he has of Brock Lesnar, these are a new one too. His timeline is all fucked up. Trying to say that he saw Lesnar and he wrestled Lesnar, but not after his UFC career. He wrestled him before his UFC career. The Undertaker broke his neck.
That one's so great.
That's like a hazing. Like that was totally a fucking hazing. What he did to the Undertaker by "you fucked me up," and he was just completely selling it to him, like legit. Man, you dropped me right on my neck when he definitely did not.
And then when Undertaker talked to him later after he saw his own tape, and he was like, he went up to him and said, "Terry, you didn't come even close to touching that chair or anything." And then he countered it with, "Yeah, but brother, you just had me so tight in that basically bear hug. That's what did it, brother." Like, God,
that was a nice little bow on top. We mentioned some of Hogan's. There needs to be a whole separate book. I think one of the Beige Frequency or Porcelain, I think one of those guys might have put out a video covering Hogan's lies in two different parts, because they're just he was getting like Grandpa Simpson, where he's just telling stuff. You don't need to embellish, Grandpa Hogan. You lived an incredible life.
Incredible. I mean, the incredible Hulk Hogan led an incredible life. He didn't need to make up this extra shit. It just didn't need to happen. But I guess we're about to ring the bell. I know you've got things you need to attend to. So
yes, I need to go feed the toilet. He needs some chocolate.
So all right. Well, I mean, I guess because it is my show, I'm the one that's supposed to say your plugs.
Dylan from somewhere, YouTube, Rumble, 11 something, usually PM, sometimes AM. Tuesday and Wednesday, and I owe a bonus episode. I should do 2 bonus episodes this week. Join the madness. It's schizophrenic paradise.
Fuck yeah. And well, if you're watching me live or in Memorex, you already know where to find me. But man, this was fun. I've been wanting to just do a wrestling show with just anybody, and unfortunately, we had to capitalize on Hulk Hogan's passing. But fuck it. At least I got to talk wrestling to somebody finally for once.
You're not monetized, therefore you're just memorializing them. If we were monetizing this in any way, shape, or form, we'd be capitalizing. But this is just two fans memorializing someone who has touched us. Not there on the doll. Put the doll away. It's not the physical insides. It's the metaphorical insides that he touched.
Yeah, I mean, shit. What can I say? I don't have anything perfect to say. I'll be the last person you would want eulogizing anyone, especially Hulk Hogan, except for I'm just going to leave it at thanks for the memories, Hulk HH. And you, Dylan. If you need me, brother, just call me. Just get me booked. I'll show up anywhere. I got my bag packed at the door. So if you need me for a show, just let me know.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me. And goodbye to Hulk. We will do some wrestling nonsense at some point, somewhere again.
All right, and now I'm going to very professionally hit end stream, and then I guess we'll find out if we're backstage. Bye, everybody, and